If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.
Welcome back to the Robert and Crew Show. As always, I'm your host, Rob. Can't get a hold of Crew. I've messaged him. I've called him. He's got to be sleeping. I couldn't get a hold of him. But anyways, tonight we're going to go over some haunted places around the world and the United States. So if you like haunted stuff, this is going to be a show for you. We're gonna go over TikTok footage of different haunted places, and I've also got some of haunting. Sorry, I have not eaten tonight yet, so still kind of in the process of eating. But let's kick this off. So, if you had to, what the haunted place world was, what do you think it would be? I can tell you one of them. It's the most in St. Francisville, Louisiana. Let's start down Louisiana, guys. Okay, this is Myrtle's Plantation. It's often called one of the most haunted houses or haunted places in America. This place is like a Native American burial ground, right? So it's like a Native American burial ground, I guess, and it's basically one giant recipe for restless spirits. The big tale behind this is that Chloe, a supposed enslaved woman who, legend has it, poisoned the owner's family after being mistreated. So you can understand that we get kind of crazy, right? She poisoned the owner of the plantation, and it gets basically she was mistreated. Now here's the twist. Some say that Chloe's story might be more than folklore than fact. With no solid record to back this up, still listeners swear by it that they've seen her ghost, wearing a green bonnet wandering the grounds. Guests report kids' laughter, footsteps, and a grand piano that plays itself, then stops when you walk in. One time a visitor snapped a photo and there was a shadowy figure in the background that wasn't there when he took that photo. And they say it was of Chloe, or it was the 12 ghosts that haunt the place. There's 12 ghosts that haunt that place. Myrtle Plantation. So that's like, it's not the most haunted place in the world, but it's a very haunted place. Then, of course, you have the famous Gettysburg battlefield of Pennsylvania. All right, guys, so let's head down north to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where the Civil War left a scar that's leading ghosts. In 1863, this battlefield saw 3 days of brutal fighting, with nearly a thousand soldiers, tens of thousands dead by. The town wasn't ready for the kind of carnage, and the bodies were left rotting in the summer heat. The place is is an extreme paranormal hotspot, okay? Gettysburg is one of the craziest paranormal hotspots out there. People report hearing cannon fire, ghastly whispers, or seeing soldiers in tattered uniforms just wandering. It's so crazy to me that that Gettysburg is as active as it is. Okay, and Gettysburg is a very active place. It's more active than a lot of other battlefields actually. The Den is a rocky outcrop that's especially wild. People say they've seen Confederate soldier who just vanishes into thin air. One tourist swore that their camera glitched, a misty figure in a photo that was there in real life. It could be the trauma of war lingering, or spirits are stuck in a loop. I believe they're probably stuck in a loop. They're basically just reliving the battle over and over and over again. They're just reliving it. But the people that see this, it obviously sends chills up their spines, guys. They don't know what to do because it's such a creepy instance. I've actually seen video footage of the Gettysburg ghosts. I don't have them tonight. Should have gotten that footage. I don't know why I didn't. But Gettysburg is one of my favorite ghost haunting things to talk about. I can only imagine how crazy it was, soldier, the North, the Confederate, and to watch all of your friends just die on the battlefield, and there's nothing you can do about it. And some of these people are like they got shot in a certain spot, and it's going to get infected no matter what because they don't have this medicine. And then they're gone. And tens of thousands of soldiers on the battlefield. So you can only imagine that that battle, basically, the energy that it holds, just keeps bringing those ghosts back. They just keep coming back and coming back and coming back, and they reenact. The ghosts are reenacting the war. Then we have one of my personal favorites. Okay, this takes place in Long Beach, California. If you know, you know. It's Queen Mary. The Queen Mary ship cruise over to the West Coast, where the RMS Mary, a retired ocean liner, turned hotel, docked at Long Beach, California. This ship is a floating haunted house with over 49 deaths time at sea from the 1930s to the 1960s. We're we're talking a sailor crushed in the engine room, a girl who was drowned in a first class pool, and even a lady in white gliding through the hallways in stateroom 8340. Is guests say they felt cold hands grabbing them or seen shadowy figures at the foot of their bed. One listener tweeted us about staying there, hearing knock on the walls all night. No one was next door. The ship leans into its spooky rep with ghost tours, but here's the kicker. Winston Churchill signed the D-Day Declaration on board during World War. That historical spirit's here. You book a night in A340, or I'm sorry, in B340, or is that a house for y'all? Would you be willing to stay in B340 at the Queen Mary? Most haunted cruise liner turned hotel in the world on the West Beach of California, West Coast of California. I don't know. I kind of want to. I kind of want to go to the Queen Mary. I think that'd be pretty fun. Then we have the Laurie Mansion in New Orleans, Louisiana. So in New Orleans, because this city is a paranormal playground and the LaLaurie Mansion is the darkest, this took place in 1830s. Madame Delphine LaLaurie was a society lady throwing fancy parties in her French Quarter mansion. But in the 1834, a fire broke out. Rescuers who got inside found a secret attic with enslaved people tortured in ways I even describe. It's absolutely horrific. The mob ran LaLaurie out of town, and ever since then, folks hear her phantom screams or see ghastly figures in windows. One bartender nearby saw a shadowy woman staring from a balcony at 2 a.m. But the police, but the place was empty. New Orleans is thick with voodoo vibes and spirits like Marie Laveau, but this mansion, it's next level evil. Listeners, do you think that Lucy cursed this house, or is this victim's pain going through time? Is she stuck in time? Is her pain just so outrageous that she can't leave that house? I went. I've never been to New Orleans, but I really want to go. I want to go for Mardi Gras, and I go see this this mansion, and I also want to go on a haunted tour of New Orleans because I know there's way more places in New Orleans that is haunted than just this place. Now I can tell you, in New Orleans, they got a lot of voodoo stuff that goes on, a lot of witches that practice voodoo, a lot of a lot of men too, a lot of warlocks. I don't know what they would call them, but it always reminds me of that Disney movie, The Princess and the Frog. Oh, that's like all voodoo stuff. I find voodoo very fascinating. In any kind of witchcraft or anything like that, I find extremely interesting. Now, I kind of want to go to a place where there's a lot of mountains, right, guys? I want to take you to Colorado, to a beautiful place called Estes Park. In Estes Park, we have a very famous hotel that was based off of a movie. Or, I'm sorry, there was a movie based on the hotel. And that movie is a very famous movie by Stephen King called The Shining. This hotel is the Stanley Hotel. I have personally been to the Stanley Hotel, and I will tell you it is one of the creepiest places, but also one of the coolest places to go inside of and explore. You can't really explore the Stanley, but you can go around the Stanley and you can on a tour, a ghost tour, or you can take pictures and do whatever you want on the outside of the building. I will tell you, it is a very haunted facility. It's a very haunted place. The Stanley Hotel is those hotels that are just you walk in and you can feel the energy. There are supposedly specific rooms in the Stanley that are haunted. One of them, specifically Jim Carrey and Stephen King both stayed in that they could not sleep in. The Stanley Hotels in Colorado, the place that inspired Stephen King's The Shining, opened in 1909. This hotel had a rep for its piano music playing with no one at the keys, and apparitions in room 217, where housekeeper died in a freak accident. King himself stayed here and got so spooked he dreamed up the Overlook Hotel, seeing Flora, the former owner's wife, feeling the ivories late at night, or feeling an unseen presence in the concert hall. One of our listeners is about seeing shadow at old time wall. It's wild. The Stanley Hotel, guys. It is one of the craziest, insane places. Like I can't even say I've been there. It is the craziest energy I've ever felt. Julie, you said you've watched the movie and the Paranormal Files and with the paranormal tools and did a tour and that was a video of the Stanley Hotel. Yes, no, I've been personally. It is absolutely it's some of the most gorgeous hotel. It's a hotel. And the vibes from the hotel are pristine. Pristine. I didn't see ghosts when I was but I got wonderful pictures. I wasn't able to take the tour because it's fairly costly. But anyways, guys, those are some haunted places in America. So now we have some videos that we're going to watch. In these videos, they're going to talk about different haunted places, but also some of these places are in America. Some of the places are in different parts of the world. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Due to its bloody history, the Tower of London is home to many a ghost. King Henry VI was supposedly murdered in the Wakefield Tower in the private chapel there. Every year on the anniversary of his death, his ghost is said to come back to that same very spot. You see him pacing up and down, and you also hear chanting happening all around you. He kneels down to pray, and at the stroke of midnight, he disappears. Lady Jane Grey, the famous 9-day queen, also haunts the tower. She died on Tower Green at only 17 years old, and it's said her white ghost is to haunt the battlements. She wanders up and down as if looking for something. Her husband, Guildford Dudley, can be seen in the Beauchamp Tower, where he sobs quietly in a window bay. The husband and wife were both executed on the same day. Anne Boleyn, the first queen to be publicly executed in England, makes the procession from the Queen's apartments all the way to where her execution site was, just in front of the Jewel Tower. There, she reenacts her execution before disappearing, and a ghostly procession is said to march through the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, where she's laid to rest. Anne and several people from her court, likely the men she died with, follow her down the aisle of the chapel and disappear above her grave. King Edward V and his little brother Richard, commonly known by the Princes in the Tower, are also seen. They lived in the Bloody Tower whilst they were there, and it's said that their ghost haunts those very same rooms. The guards at the tower are said to hear children playing, and when they go in to investigate, there's nobody there. They're also said to haunt the White Tower, where they were then moved to, and you can hear their sobbing as they drift from room to room. There are many more stories to be told of these sad vignettes of the history of the Tower of London.
The Tower of London that's a pretty famous place. Pretty sure it is. The Tower of London is, from everything I've watched on it today and everything that I researched, it holds a lot of history, a lot of queen or queen that or she was a queen or a princess that passed away, and then the two people that were executed. It's definitely got the creepy vibes. Probably for sure is haunted. I would love to visit London. I would love to visit it.
The ghosts of the Tower of London. The Tower of London first began being built nearly 1,000 years ago in 1066 and has been used as a fortress, a place of safety, and a royal palace. But for many has been a prison, a place of torture, and the place countless lives would end. Scottish kings, French dukes, lords, ladies, young princes and princesses, down to your common thieves, the Tower of London doesn't discriminate. I recently visited Beauchamp Tower. Situated within the Tower of London's walls, Beauchamp Tower was built in 1281, and the thick stone has held hundreds of years' worth of unhappiness and heartache. The atmosphere in there was heavy and made my blood run cold. The tower was used to house wealthy prisoners, and this is the window, the glass, that prisoners looked through onto Tower Green while awaiting their fate. In 1542, Jane Rochford, lady-in-waiting to Catherine Howard, Henry VIII's fifth wife, was interrogated within these walls. The interrogation was said to have driven her to a nervous breakdown, and in terror she gave evidence which resulted in Catherine being sentenced to death. The 18-year-old Queen of England was beheaded on Tower Green, within ear and eyeshot of Beauchamp Tower. Whether Lady Rochford watched from this very window before being beheaded herself later that day is unknown. 12 years later, 17-year-old Lady Jane Grey, the 9-day queen, sat and allegedly scratched her name into the stone. Jane was a mere pawn in her family's ambition and was held in the Tower of London after being overthrown by her cousin Mary I and refusing to renounce her Protestant faith. Horrifyingly, she watched as her teenage husband was taken from Beauchamp Tower to Tower Hill where he was executed, and later witnessed him return, headless, to be buried in the chapel. Lady Jane was also beheaded on Tower Green later that very day. Depressed, desperate, and driven to madness by boredom, many prisoners carved into the walls to distract themselves. In 1622, T. Salmon scratched into the stone his name, the year, his family coat of arms, and close prisoner 32 weeks, 224 days, 5,376 hours. Little is known of him, however it's believed he was one of the many to die in this very tower while held in custody. Many of the Tower of London's former inhabitants are said to be present to this very day, and there are allegedly hundreds of ghostly sightings, including Lady Jane Grey, dressed in white and often seen walking along the battlements. Also her husband, Guilford Dudley, who haunts Beauchamp Tower itself and can be seen or heard alone and crying in the corner. Infamous Anne Boleyn is the most frequently reported of all the sightings and can be seen headless, wandering the corridors. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, all I can say is, I didn't feel alone in Beauchamp Tower, and the tower as a whole carries intensity and a sense of unfinished business. Would you spend a night in this bleak and ghostly tower? There are so many more stories to share, and we haven't scratched the surface. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2.
Dude, that'd be so cool to visit Julie. It would be so cool. It seems like the Tower of London is extremely haunted, and it sounds creepy. I mean, just the fact that you can see this that freaks me out a little. It's pretty cool. I think the Tower of London is filled with crazy energy. All the people that were executed there.
Never go here. The Guanajuato catacombs in Mexico contain naturally mummified bodies of people who died from diseases like cholera. The mummies provide a glimpse into the past and the effects of preservation under specific environmental conditions.
So I've heard of that place. I've never been to it. I don't know anybody that has, but the catacombs of Guadalajara are supposedly pretty haunted. All of these battlefields. I'd love to visit the battlefields. Like we were talking about Gettysburg earlier. I would love to visit Gettysburg. I would love to visit Paola. I would love to visit all the battlefields. All of them.
Captain Tony's Saloon in Key West has always been more than just a bar. Built in 1852, it was once the town's morgue, and its foundation wraps around an ancient hanging tree where pirates met their end. Locals say the spirits of the condemned never left. One stormy night, a bartender named Sarah was closing up alone. The saloon was empty, but the air felt heavy, as if someone was watching. As she wiped down the bar, the front door slammed shut with a deafening bang. She jumped, her heart racing, but when she checked, no one was there. Returning to the bar, she heard faint whispers, like a conversation just out of earshot. The sound seemed to come from the hanging tree, which still stands in the center of the saloon. She approached cautiously, her flashlight trembling in her hand. Suddenly, the banging started. Loud, rhythmic, and coming from the floorboards beneath her feet. She froze as the whispers grew louder, turning into anguished cries. Then, she saw it. A shadowy figure hanging from the tree, its head tilted unnaturally, its lifeless eyes staring straight at her. The lights flickered, and when they steadied, the figure was gone. But carved into the bar, where there had been nothing before, were the words, "We never left." Sarah quit the next day, but the spirits, they're still there, waiting for the next visitor to notice them.
Ugh, I don't like that story. Key West. I think they're talking about Florida, right? Apparently, sorry guys. Apparently, quite a few haunted places in Florida. I'd have to look them all up again real quick. I can do that because I really like haunted Florida. I think Florida is absolutely awesome. Haunted places in Florida. Okay, so yeah, we got the St. Augustine Lighthouse in St. Augustine. In St. Augustine, because oldest city, where St. Augustine Lighthouse has been freaking people out since 1864. The black and white beacon is just guiding ship. It's a hot spot for ghostly activity. The daughters of the lighthouse keeper who drowned in a tragic accident in the 1870s while playing near the construction site. Visitors swear they hear giggles or see shadowy girls in old-timey dresses on the spiral staircase. Then there is the cigar smoke. Yet people smell tobacco or see smoke or a figure in the keeper's house. Maybe the spirit of a worker who died on the job. Night tours, wire. And then you have the Cuban Club in Ybor City, Tampa. In Ybor City, Tampa, the Cuban Club was built in 1917 as a social hub for Cuban immigrants. It's straight up haunted. This place has seen all the parties, theater, performance, and murders. Two big ghosts steal each other. First, an actor shot himself on stage in the 1920s. Some say he accidentally did it. Others say not. People hear his footsteps pacing the theater or see a shadowy figure in the spotlight. Second, a young boy who is drowned in an indoor pool. His laughter goes in the halls. Folks feel tugs on their clothes near the basement. The elevator also has a mind of its own, stopping on random floors with no one inside. The bartender, I know, the bartender swears he saw a man in a white suit vanish into a ballroom wall. The place is now a venue for weddings and events. Would you party it up here with all these ghosts? Would you? No, thank you. And then you got the May Stringer House in Brooksville. So in Brooksville, north of Tampa, where the May Stringer House was built in 1856, right? This I actually know a little bit about this one. It was built in like 1856. It's more of like a Victorian style mansion. I think they turned it into a museum. Here I'm just gonna read this real quick but I do know they turned this into a museum, right? And it's famous for EVPs and ghost sightings, like apparitions. I've been to Key West when I turned 16, but didn't know about those places when I was that age. Yeah, Key West is in Florida, right? It's pretty cool. I yeah, I like Key West is cool. I've never been to Key West, but it looks wonderful. I've been to Florida, I've been to Orlando, I've been to Tampa, I've been to a lot of different places in Florida. You know, Kissimmee, been to all those places. The big touristy ones, honestly. Okay, so anyways, the May Stringer Brooksville house. I know it was built in 1856, so let's start from there. Let me find that. Okay, it's a Victorian mansion that was built in 1856. It was home to Jessie May, a little girl who died at the age of 3 in the 1860s. The legend says her mom died in childbirth, and Jessie's spirit never left. Visitors hear the child's laughter or crying, see some small figure darting through the rooms. Paranoid guests report objects moving, like dolls that shifted positions on the shelf or feeling like they were watched in the attic. Ghost hunters have caught, yep, this is what I was saying. Ghost hunters have caught her EPs saying Jesse or Jessica play. One of our listeners So one of this guy's listeners sent him in something that apparently had a blurry photo of something, and they called it Jesse. But anyways, yeah, no, you couldn't pay me to stay there. I wouldn't want to stay there. I think that's I think that story is crazy. I don't want to deal with no kids. Then we have another place in Key West, Julie. We have the Key West Cemetery in Key West. So it's at the southern tip of Florida in Key West, where Key West Cemetery opened in 1847. It's a ghost party that never stops. This place is packed with 100 souls in a tiny space. Thanks to hurricanes and yellow fever wiping out the locals back in the day, the star ghost is a Bahamian woman who guards the graves. People say that if you disrespect the cemetery, like sitting on the, she'll appear yelling at you. Some see her in a long dress staring from the shadows. Other stories include hearing whispers or in Spanish or seeing orbs floating at night. The tourists once told told the locals told the locals that their camera caught a misty shape near a grave, but it was gone when they looked up. In Key West, voodoo and pirate vibes add to the eerie factor. Yeah. So apparently, Key West had a lot of voodoo. Um, the voodoo, man, that's like Haitian magic, Haitian black magic, like Haitian voodoo, and yeah, it's like when you hex somebody or people. Then we got the last one, the Moore Hotel in Coral Gables, Florida. So wrapping it up, we're going to talk about the Biltmore in Corals Gable near Miami. It's lanky 1920s hotspot that equals parts that are literally pretty glam but also grim. During Prohibition, it was a speakeasy for mobsters such as Thomas Fatty. Walsh was gunned down there on the 13th floor in 1929. His ghost supposedly rides the elevators up and down, opening doors, random floors, or whispering to guests. World War II turned the hotel into a hospital, and some say soldiers and spirits still roam the halls. Guests report hearing jazz music from nowhere, seeing in white dancing in a ballroom, or feeling cold spots in a lobby. People tweeted about staying in a and waking up, a door creaking open, and no one was there. Biltmore's Lux Vibe makes it a for celeb. So yeah, mobsters, man, mobsters at the Biltmore. No, thank you. But anyways, that's like some of the most haunted places in Florida, and two of them are in Key West, Julie. So two of them you should be familiar. No, I'm just kidding. If you've never lived there, then you probably don't know very much about it. But anyways, let's get back to the videos. We took a little sideshow and went to Florida Haunted. Let's go back. Okay, so Transalgony or was it a different? I don't know.
The House of Death, located at 14 West 10th Street in Greenwich Village, New York, is a historic townhouse with a dark reputation. Said to be haunted by up to 22 spirits, the most famous of which is the ghost of renowned author Mark Twain. The building has long been the subject of eerie tales and tragic stories. Twain lived in the townhouse briefly in the early 1900s, and since his death, numerous residents and visitors have claimed to see his apparition, often appearing in a white suit. Beyond Twain, the house is said to be home to other restless spirits. Over the years, reports of strange noises, shadowy figures, and feelings of dread have been common among those who have lived or visited the home. The most chilling event associated with the house, however, occurred in 1987, when a gruesome murder took place, further cementing its haunted reputation. The House of Death continues to fascinate those interested in New York's ghostly history, drawing both locals and tourists to its infamous address. Its blend of historical significance and paranormal lore makes it one of the most intriguing haunted locations in the city. Visitors leave with stories to tell, their imaginations ignited by the chilling atmosphere and the mysteries that surround the House of Death. Each account adds to the house's rich tapestry of ghostly legends, drawing in those brave enough to explore its haunted halls. The stories of the House of Death live on, captivating the imagination of all who hear them, and ensuring that its legacy endures. As dusk falls, the essence of history intertwines with the supernatural, making the House of Death a place where the past and present collide. The curiosity surrounding this historic townhouse only grows, as each visit promises a new chapter in its haunting narrative. Paranormal enthusiasts often come equipped with tools to capture evidence of the unknown, hoping to uncover the secrets hidden within its walls. Every creak of the floorboards and whispering wind fuels the legend, as the house reveals its mysteries to those willing to seek them. The haunting tales told within these walls resonate through time, echoing the lives once lived and the spirits that remain. The House of Death, located at...
So the House of Death sounds really cool just because they said Mark Twain. Mark Twain's ghost is supposed to be there. I'd like to visit that place just to say that I visited a place where Twain lived. That'd be really cool. And is it just me, or did Mark Twain and Albert Einstein look pretty similar? Pretty similar.
The Devil's Cave is a place that for 200 years has been the creator of the most terrifying legends of Mazatlan. There are those who assure that there has been people that out of curiosity have gone into the cave and have never been seen again. Others say that this is where the pirates hid their treasures. Another legend says that this is where the devil was released, and some have even heard him. What is the truth behind these legends? Stay with me and I'll share the story behind this mystical cave. It is said that at the beginning of the 19th century, people used to take horseback rides by Olas Altas, and they assured that the pass was very short since the skirts of Cerro de la Nevería hill reached the sea. That is how it was until Johann George Clausen, who was the president of the Mazatlan Board of Material Improvements, proposed to make a path between the cliffs of the skirt of Cerro de la Nevería until Ignacio Zaragoza Street. Taking advantage of his position, his proposal got approved. The recognition of this project was baptized in the name of Johann Clausen, what today is known as Paseo Clausen. So it was that with the project of opening a path, the cave emerged as a sequel of a technique used to dynamite the rock, leaving a 7-meter hole. Over time, this cave has become very famous with tourists and local for its legends. The truth is, it remains as a memory of the great work that Johann Clausen did. Today, the cave has a gate to delimit the passage. Unfortunately, people have used it as a garbage dispense, and the truth is that the smell is not very pleasant. Do you believe that the horrifying legends are true? Would you dare to come and visit this cave? Thank you for watching this video. See you next time.
Yeah, I would go to the cave, but it's sad that people have treated the cave like such crap and have just thrown garbage inside there and nobody cleans it up. That's horrible. I think, you know, that should be taken care of. That's disgusting. Bad. That just kind of like it's probably haunted because you're throwing garbage in there and the spirits that are in there are pissed off about it.
On May 20th of 2023, a couple of nurses enter a section of a hospital that many doctors and nurses are afraid to enter alone. The section of this hospital is known as the Old ER, and it's a floor that's been abandoned for quite some time. Many patients have passed away on this floor, and some of those patients were children. Nurses claim that the floor of this hospital is haunted. One night, a group of nurses working the night shift decide to visit the floor just for fun. However, little did they know that something pretty terrifying would occur while being there. The following footage is their video. Watch.
You guys, haunted ER? We're gonna go. Haunted ER, haunted ER. I'm really good too. Oh my god, my head is huge. Chloe, so I can't even... Huh?
It's just close to the camera.
Yeah, you're right. We got a chance for the haunted. Yeah.
Oh god.
It's like
I'm not excited about this. I didn't even get to finish eating my sandwich.
it feels like we're getting on a. You nervous? Why are you nervous?
Because it's haunted.
Are you nervous?
Yes. Did you see anything in there?
Nothing happened. I judge anything if nothing happened. Okay, I'm sorry about that video. It's apparently haunted, but nothing happened. I hate videos like that. Like, why'd you cut it off?
Do you know the real story behind the Conjuring House? It all started in January of 1971 when the Perron family, Carolyn and Roger Perron, moved with their 5 children into a 14-bedroom house in Harrisville, Rhode Island. Almost immediately, strange things started happening around the house, like things would go missing, there would be random piles of dirt in the middle of the floor right after Carolyn had swept and mopped. The family would also hear strange noises all around the house. Slowly, things started to escalate, and the girls said that their beds would levitate off the floor, but I think the most scary was the basement. Roger Perron said that he often smelled like a rotting smell when he was in the basement and also felt like a cold presence behind him. A lot of times they would just refuse to go down into the cellar because of this feeling and this smell, but the furnace that was down in the cellar would often fail mysteriously, so Roger had to go down there to fix it. Things started to escalate to the point where the Perron family had to get Ed and Lorraine Warren involved, and they started finding some very strange things about the history of the house. They were able to find that a woman named Bathsheba Sherman had lived in the house in the 1800s, and there were several mysterious deaths surrounding Bathsheba and the neighboring children. Rumor had it that Bathsheba was a practicing Satanist and that she was involved in all of these children's deaths. They also decided that Bathsheba was threatened by Carolyn's presence, and that's why Carolyn was often the target of these attacks. Ed and Lorraine Warren would make several trips over the years to the Conjuring House, and they even tried to have a seance in the house. It was during this seance that Carolyn started talking in tongues and her chair levitated, and then she was thrown across the room, according to eyewitness testimony. In the movie, it is shown that Ed would eventually exorcise the entity that was in the house, but in real life, Lorraine said that Ed would never perform an exorcism because that would have to be done by the Catholic Church. The Perrin family did stay in the house until the 1980s due to financial instability, and they just weren't able to move. They said that the paranormal activity did continue while they lived there. You can now tour the Conjuring House, but I don't think I would be brave enough. Would you tour the Conjuring House? Let me know down in the comments and follow for more creepy things.
Okay, it sounds crazy, but I'd be willing to stay a night at the Conjuring House. At least one night. I would sleep there. I would experience that. I know that sounds insane, but I want to experience the Conjuring House. I need to experience the Conjuring House. Yo, what's up, Jade? Yellowstone just had a Mag 4 earthquake a few minutes ago. Are you serious? Are you serious? Yellowstone having an earthquake. Oh my goodness. A recent 3.7 magnitude earthquake struck Geyser Basin, the park's oldest and hottest area, on January 28th, 2025, at around 6 p.m. ST, classified as a below 4 magnitude. I don't see anything about today, though. Earthquake in Yellowstone today. I don't know. I can't confirm that. That would be crazy, though. I mean, you said a few minutes ago, so maybe it's just not reported yet. We'll see. It'll come up here in a minute if it is being reported. That's crazy. I don't like Yellowstone earthquakes, man. That set the super volcano Yellowstone off, and that's a scary thought. Ooh, that's a scary thought.
In Savannah, Georgia, tucked away among the historic streets, lies the Pirate's House, a tavern once notorious for its wild patrons and darker secrets. Today, it's known as one of the city's most haunted locations. Are you ready to hear the legend? Built in 1753, the Pirate's House began as a gathering spot for sailors and pirates alike. Beneath its floors, a network of tunnels once connected the building to the Savannah River. Legend has it these tunnels were used for shanghaiing, kidnapping unsuspecting men and forcing them into servitude aboard pirate ships. Many of these victims were never seen again, and it's said their spirits remain trapped within the tavern. The most chilling tale involves the ghost of Captain Flint, a character from Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. Though fictional, Flint's haunting presence has been linked to the tavern, where some say he spent his final days. Guests have reported hearing ghostly voices, footsteps echoing through empty halls, and even seeing shadowy figures dressed in pirate attire. One account speaks of a spectral man with a tricorn hat sitting at the bar before disappearing. Staff members refuse to work alone at night, claiming they've felt cold hands on their shoulders or seen objects move without explanation. Whether it's restless sailors, victims of shanghaiing, or the infamous Captain Flint himself, the Pirate's House holds secrets that refuse to stay buried. Would you dare step into a place where history and hauntings collide? Like and follow the Dark Side Chronicles for more tales that blur the line between myth and reality.
I don't know. I might stay there. I like pirate stuff. I like pirate themed things. I keep trying to look for this earthquake. I even went to Yellowstone's website, and they don't. You think they have on? There are alerts going on though. Emergency alert. The two emergency alerts are spring plowing has begun. Most of the roads are closed to all vehicles until mid-April, and Biscuit Basin is closed due to a hydrothermal explosion. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, Julie, you found it. You found it. Okay, 11 miles from Jackson, Wyoming at 12:07 a.m. Point .9 earthquake occurred. Oh no. That could easily this could easily set off the volcano stone. Could easily set off the like not this specific earthquake, but if we keep getting earthquakes in Yellowstone, that is fucking scary. Like holy shit, that's holy shit, that's scary. 4.1. 3.9 in Jackson, but there was a point 1 that was recorded. 1 hour ago, magnitude 4.1 earthquake hit 16.10 miles away from Jackson, Wyoming, in the United States late in the evening. Yeah, they're talking about like how this is going to affect the volcano. What the heck? Yeah, no, this is the United States Geological Survey reported a magnitude 4.1 quake it's near Jackson, Teton County, Wyoming, only 23 minutes ago. The earthquake hit late at night Thursday, April 17th, 2025, 11:11 p.m. local time, at a very shallow depth of 2.4 miles. The exact magnitude, epicenter, and depth of the quake might be revised within the next few hours, minutes, as seismology data redefine their calculations or as other agencies issue reports. The monitoring service identified a second report from the Incorporated Research Institutions of Technology, which listed the quake at a magnitude 4.1 as well. Based on the preliminary seismic data, the quake should not have caused any significant damage, but was probably felt by many people as light vibration in the area of the epicenter. Weak shaking might have been felt in Jackson. Jackson's population is 10,500, located 10 miles from the epicenter, South Park, population 1,700. 12 miles away from Rafter J, population 1,100. 13 miles away from Moose Wilson Road, which is 1,800. Other towns and cities and epicenters where the quake might have been felt very weak and shaky and Star Valley Ranch. Yeah, they had a 4.1 earthquake. Holy moly. So, do you think a fault line's going to go off, JD? Is that what you think is going to happen? Do you know quite a bit about earthquakes? I'd love to hear your take on this because I've always been told that if earthquakes go off too close to Yellowstone, we're all screwed, basically. No, you're not stressing me out. I find this shit crazy. Like, there's nothing none of us can do if Yellowstone goes off. If Yellowstone goes off, like, we're just screwed. And apparently, there was a hydrothermal explosion, and they had to close off Biscuit Basin because of it. Because the geyser is like exploding absolutely insanely right now, which would make sense due to the seismic activity going on. The seismic activity in Yellowstone is the crap out of it. I was thinking a fault line would maybe take off in Cali. I would expect one to go way north to Yellowstone. I mean, it was only a matter of time. Like, we all knew, like, California, they get it all the time. They get quakes all the time. The San Andreas fault is going to eventually go off, and California is going to be screwed. Same thing with where I'm at. I'm directly in the middle of the new red fault, so I'm screwed if the new MAD goes off. But it was only a matter of time before Yellowstone starts to get cooking. Like, we've been told for a while that Kano's go off any freaking point in time. Nobody's going to be ready for it or ready for the damage that it's going to bring. Really cool. Well, anytime you see earthquakes or like hear about some crazy ones, let me know. Like, I'm so obsessed with that, and weather and natural disasters are this show. We like to cover that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, I love the interjection into this. I know this was one night. This turned into, oh my god, an earthquake happened real close to Yellowstone, and that's crazy. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Always do it. Just do it. But anyways, now that everybody is good and stressed out about earthquakes, let's finish this video. I don't even remember where we were, so God forgive me if I click.
Welcome to one of the most haunted locations in all of America. This is the Fairfield County Infirmary in Lancaster, Ohio. I will be living here for an entire week on stream. If you see me live, make sure you tap in. I'm currently sitting in the location where a woman burned alive. There was also a very dark history associated with the superintendent that used to abuse his patients here. From chaining them to walls, to locking them into a prison cell, the conditions here were less than admirable. There's also a cemetery behind this building where there's tons and tons of unmarked graves, vertically buried so that they could fit more people in the ground. There's rumored to be a tall, dark figure that hangs out in the attic. I will have surveillance cameras streaming the entire time I'm here, so even when I go to sleep, you'll be able to tune in and see if you can catch any paranormal activity. I'm Kalani, and welcome to my live lockdown. And while you're at it, tag one friend that you would leave here for a night by themselves.
That's cool. Staying for a whole week. I hope you don't fake it, because some people do stuff, but they don't really stay there. They just stream while they're there, and then they leave, and then they go to a hotel, and then they come back the next day, and they act like they were there. So hopefully he really knows somebody, and he actually did that stream. I'm actually going to look for it later.
The spirits in this house tried to lead me into a trap. This is one of the most haunted homes in Minnesota, the Warden's house in Stillwater. The spirits in this home are very active, especially if you ring this bell that was once owned by the minister pictured in the portrait above. During an investigation, somebody rang that bell and the portrait fell off of the wall, so of course we had to ring it. The history of this house is pretty interesting. It was lived in by 13 different wardens from a nearby prison, and multiple people have died inside of the home. But the most active part of this building is in the upstairs, specifically in the children's room. The legend of this house involves a woman named Gertrude. Gertrude gave birth to a child, but then shortly afterwards she died. And to this day, people report seeing her wandering the halls, especially upstairs, looking for her lost baby. There's a lot of creepy stuff in this house, like this outfit and actual locks of hair from the boy in the portrait that I just showed you. But the spookiest object is this doll. During our investigation, the tour guide actually had to go to the back room to bring this doll out. She told us that she keeps the doll in the very back of the house because it's so haunted. And in the past, she said the doll has typed out messages on people's phones. There's also this bed that a young man died in from tuberculosis. This is him in the portrait. So let me know, would you spend the night in this haunted house? Our full investigation from this place is on YouTube now.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch that full investigation, and I mean, yeah, I'd stay there for the night. Only one night. I like experiencing the freaky, paranormal, scary stuff. I like
Fourth floor.
So I think I saw it, but I'm not sure. I think it was when he panned the camera from the when he turned and you see in the other room. I'm gonna play it again for you, but it looked like a shadow figure was standing in the doorway. Up real quick.
Established in 1836, Missouri State.
Fourth floor.
Okay. So he pans this way, right there. And I don't know if you saw that or not, but it's totally there. There is a ghost figure there. No, thank you. That could somebody see in the shadows. So that's not something I. No, thank you. Next one I think is of the Missouri State Penitentiary. I actually went there and I did a ghost tour where I was there all night, and that is one of the creepiest penitentiaries in the world. And I can't wait to go back because it was freaky.
Established in 1836, Missouri State Penitentiary is an iconic centuries-old landmark that, despite having a violent reputation, went on to play a significant role in shaping our country's criminal justice system. The prison has a long, rich, and fascinating past that continues to captivate audiences. From lone assassins to serial killers and everything in between only helped to solidify its long-standing reputation as one of the toughest and most dangerous prisons in the United States. Exploring Missouri State Pen gave us a real-life glimpse into the harsh realities of life behind bars, from the terrifying 4-story high-tiered cell blocks to the dark and claustrophobic death row, and finally to the chilling execution chamber. This prison is a sobering reminder of the consequences of criminal behavior. Whether you're a history buff, a true crime enthusiast, or simply curious about the darker side of our history, this video is here for you. Let's embark on this journey and shed light on the dark, hidden corners of our country's most notorious prison.
I've been there, and it is stupid creepy. And I was there at night, all night.
The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is one of the most allegedly haunted areas in West Virginia, containing a lot of the secrets from the years of the Civil War up towards the closing in 1994. The place was known as Weston State Hospital, and it was first constructed in the 1800s. The construction stopped in 1858 due to the Union soldiers wanting to use the land, according to the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum's official website. The building was created by Thomas Story Kirkbride, a mentally ill man who wanted to be associated with an American psychiatric facility. During the working years, the area was filled with different mentally ill patients. According to the information on the asylum's website, Kirkbride believed that patients should be allowed to roam the facility to have more freedom. He believed that letting them roam would help them be cured of their illness. The place was able to contain 250 people in their rooms comfortably. In 1863, tragedy struck the hospital. Due to an increase in mental health diagnosis, the hospital was overrun with 500 more patients with different problems. The hospital could hardly keep up with the patients, and conditions started to decline rapidly. Patients were crammed together with 4 or 5 in one small room that could only fit one person. By 1938, the asylum was 6 times over capacity. The patients were running wild and they were out of control. They hardly had anywhere to keep any more patients. The food supplies were running low and the conditions were declining. At the peak of the 1950s, the hospital contained 2,600 patients. According to the asylum's website, the patients were sleeping on the floor and in freezing rooms with no furniture or heat. The windows were covered in grime and mold. The wallpaper was peeling from decay. It was 10 times over capacity. During this era, the place began experimental lobotomies. The place performed over 4,000 lobotomies, which left some healthy patients with brain damage and hemorrhages. The ice pick method involves slipping a thin pointed rod like an ice pick into the patient's eye socket and using a hammer to force it to sever the connective tissue in the frontal lobe of the brain, which resulted in a number of deaths. Trans-Allegheny is available for day tours as well as overnight ghost hunts.
No. No ice pick lobotomies for me. I am perfectly sane. I do not need an ice pick lobotomy, I promise. I don't ever want to go through anything like that. That is the most insane option slash mental health thing I've ever heard of in my life, and it basically just makes you a walking vegetable, right? I don't want to be lobotomized ever, especially with an ice pick. And you probably were seeing the skulls on this blanket. Look creepy. They look kind of creepy, especially when like they're up in me and there's blankets above me. They're just blank.
The 3 most haunted locations in the USA never visit if you want to stay alive. Number 3, Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, West Virginia. This Gothic-style asylum was built in 1864 and housed thousands of mentally ill patients, many of whom were subjected to cruel treatments such as lobotomies, electroshock therapy, and ice water baths. Paranormal investigators have reported seeing apparitions, hearing voices, and feeling cold spots in the asylum. Number 2, the LaLaurie Mansion, New Orleans, Louisiana. This French Quarter mansion was the home of Madame LaLaurie, a socialite who tortured and killed enslaved people in her attic in the early 19th century. When a fire broke out in 1834, the police discovered the horrific scene and a mob stormed the house, forcing LaLaurie to flee to France. People claimed to hear the screams of her victims and see their ghostly forms in the house. Before revealing the number 1, remember to subscribe and like the video. Number 1, the Stanley Hotel, Estes Park, Colorado. This grand hotel, built in 1909, is famous for inspiring Stephen King's novel, The Shining. The hotel is said to be haunted by the ghosts of its original owners, F.O. and Flora Stanley, who can be seen playing the piano, moving furniture, and flickering lights.
Oh my goodness, they're just popping off tonight. These earthquakes. Holy crap. So, yeah, like earthquakes, guys. Julie, I don't know where you live. Like, I don't want to know, like, you live, the state you live in, what state you live in, Julie. I live in Missouri, and we have the New Madrid that, like, runs right through Missouri. So earthquakes are a little bit freaky. We don't have them very often, but I've felt a couple in my life. Absolutely crazy. I would love, like, I would not live in an earthquake, but at the same time, kind of interesting to feel an earthquake right now out of nowhere.
Why are there 6 million bodies beneath the city of Paris? It's because in the 18th century, the graveyards in France were overflowing with bodies, and King Louis XVI needed a plan to organize this. So he arranged the construction of the catacombs. This is a whole second city underneath Paris. It's believed that the catacombs are over 350 kilometers long and are a complex maze of tunnels and corridors. You could imagine that getting lost in here would mean death, and it does. A hotel doorkeeper named Philibert Aspart stumbled into the catacombs and explored them a little bit, but when his single candle went out, he was surrounded by nothing but darkness and bones. His body was found 11 years later, and he was only identified because of the keys that he carried during his lifetime. There's also this video of a man exploring the catacombs when he suddenly drops his camera and starts sprinting away, which means either he got lost or he wasn't alone down there. Regardless, he was never seen again, and nobody knows what happened to him. And now you know.
Good, JD. Get away from the earthquake zone. Although I'm sure if Yellowstone went off, like most of America is going to be affected by ash. And the sun may even get blocked out by an eruption like that.
The Paris catacombs are a network of underground tunnels that contain the bones of more than 6 million people, who were moved there from overcrowded cemeteries in the 18th and 19th centuries. The catacombs are open to the public and offer a unique historical and cultural experience. They are located under the Place d'Enfort-Chouchereau in the 14th arrondissement of Paris. The catacombs are also known as the Empire of the Dead, because of the inscription on the entrance gate. For images and detailed information, you can check the Urbex Abandoned Instagram page.
Definitely someplace that I visit before I die. Don't want to end up in there, but I'd like to visit it before I died. Paris, France, and the catacombs. Absolutely wonderful place. Creepy, but wonderful.
It's very bizarre. These arrows point in a direction. Occasionally also, he stops to photograph roomfuls of bones, which means that he's very, very deep inside the catacombs. So basically, he's filming what he's seeing very deep inside the catacombs, other than the point of view shots or pictures of human bones. The catacombs for centuries. So it is possible with these paintings that we may be able to retrace his itinerary to some extent. After about 4, we hear his breathing get louder and louder, as though something was scaring him. He's frightened, he's frightened. Occasionally he stops, perhaps to try to decide which way to run among all the many different corridors. He's running faster and faster and faster, deeper and deeper into the catacombs. And all of a sudden, we hear his breathing get louder and louder, as though something was scaring him. He's frightened, he's frightened. Occasionally he stops, perhaps to try to decide which way to run among all the many different corridors. He's running faster and faster and faster, deeper and deeper into the catacombs. And all of a sudden, this video camera
No, thank you. That's freaky. There's a 4.7 in Mexico. Dude, Earth is active tonight.
let's talk about the secret organizations that hang out in the catacombs. Paris catacombs have been going viral all over TikTok. There have been videos of people getting married in the catacombs and also videos on why we should not be going in them. But today I'm gonna make a video talking about the cataphiles. Now the cataphiles are urban explorers who illegally tour the mines of Paris. Now, in the mines of the catacombs, there are secret swimming pools that have crystal clear blue water. However, you do have to hike through this. So we'll talk about that in another video, because this video, we're going to be talking about the group responsible for the movie theater that the police found back in 2004 that left behind a note for the police saying, "Do not try to find us." Now, the group responsible for this is part of the French artist collective called UX, which is a group of urban explorers. There are a bunch of different groups, but this group's particular name, who took credit for it, their name was the Mexican Consolidated Drilling Authority. When asked about the name, we were told it was like a nonsense name, like it was just something that people put together. But these groups are high tech. Like there is another one that is an all women's group called the Mouse House, who are experts at infiltration. Based off what I read, these people kind of put themselves above the group of cataphiles, cataphiles, like we're more elite. I don't know. That's just how it feels from what I've been reading. Now, these groups are not just full of artists. It's important to note because you're like, how the heck did you get a movie theater down there? These groups are made up of engineers, civil servants, lawyers, even state prosecutors. Then they are divided into groups based off their interests. Now, the UX has been around for a really long time, and they say that they only have two principles that they follow by. One, they never ask for permission, and they also never ask for subsidies from the government. So obviously, they never asked to have this movie theater down in the catacombs. So if they wanted to make this movie theater and put on film festival or a theater production underground, wouldn't ask permission. Instead, they would get the resources needed. They have an engineer on staff. They have anyone they need in order to hook up the electricity, which is what really blew everyone's mind. And apparently there was even a toilet down there. Just so you can visualize it, I mean, they had a giant cinema screen, seats, projection equipment, film reels, a fully stocked bar, and a complete restaurant with chairs and tables. At least allegedly. Obviously, I've not been down there. And then when police came back 3 days later, everything was gone but that note. Now, I did see some people stating that there were cameras down there, so they must have seen the police go down there and then they went and cleared out. This is also crazy to me because a lot of the ways that they get into the catacombs is through manholes. Think of how small those are. So obviously they must have another way to get down there, or they just send down the materials and build it while they're there. Yeah, the guy says they get their hands dirty learning how to do things like wire space, introduce internet, electricity in order to stage primarily artistic events. These people are just hosting events down here. And these people are not destroying property. A lot of times they're actually fixing things, such as broke into the Pantheon. Probably said that wrong, I'm sorry. But it's one of the Parisian monuments and fixed one of their 19th century clock that they noticed wasn't working. You guys can pause and read this article. It literally says, for a year, even the nose of their security, these illegal restorers set up shop and fixed this clock. They didn't get in trouble because there were no laws in Paris about trespassing and actually fixing things. So if you're doing bad, yeah, you could go to jail, but if you're actually helping them out, you wouldn't go to jail. I know a lot of talks have been about people breaking in and kind of having these weddings and doing crazy things down there. There's actually a group of artists who go down there, host events, and actually restore different parts of Paris. Next video, I'm going to talk about the different swimming pools in the catacombs, how people get there.
That is awesome. Those guys just go down there and they build stuff, and then they've broken into places to fix things. That is just awesome. They're like, yeah, I noticed the clock was broken at the Pantheon, and now I'm gonna go fix it real quick. So I'm gonna break in there real quick and I'm gonna fix the clock. Awesome. Well, guys, that was actually my last video for tonight. The Paris Catacombs is one of my favorite places in the entire world. And if you've ever seen As Above, So Below, it's just such an interesting place. I think it's cool. These earthquakes tonight, though, these things are kind of freaky. It's interesting that they're all happening right now. And I wonder. I mean, this is gonna scare myself, I guess, but me too. Let's go. let's do this before we get off. How many earthquakes happen a day in the United States of America? 267 earthquakes per day with a magnitude of 1.0 or higher based on the data of the past 25 years. This equates to approximately 98,000 earthquakes annually. Most of these are minor with magnitudes below 2.0 and are typically not felt by people. For higher magnitudes, the averages are 3.0 or higher, 12.6 earthquakes per day, magnitude 4.0 or higher, 1.6 earthquakes per day, and a magnitude 5.0 or higher, 73 per year, 0.2 earthquakes per day. These figures come from the U.S. Geological Survey and other seismic data sources activity primarily in states like Alaska, California, and along the Pacific Ring of Fire. Whew. Man, the fact that they're going off so close to Yellowstone, though, that's scary. Last thing is that super volcano to just erupt. That's the last thing I want to happen around here. Well, anyways, guys, tonight we went over a whole bunch of different haunted places. Trans-Allegheny Asylum looks really freaking cool, and I bet that's absolutely amazing for Andor to just walk around in there and take photos. A lot of the other like places, like the cemetery in Key West that I read about, and then the Pirates Tavern. Those are all places I'd want to visit and do at some point in my life. I want to see if I can't stay at least one night at the Conjuring House. And then one of my favorite ones that we didn't get to see any footage on, but I talked about was the Queen Mary. That ship has always piqued my interest. And I really had my interest piqued after watching streamers named Sam and stay on the Queen Mary for a night. I would love to be able to stay on that ship for at least one night. It's such a crazy ship. But I think we've had a pretty good night over seismic activity. We went over ghosts and facilities. We went over haunted places in the United States, such as battlefield hotels and prominent places where prominent figures live. We went over quite a bit. I'm sure we're going to have a whole nother haunted episode really soon, all for you guys. And now I think because we got into earthquakes tonight, I think I'm gonna have to do a whole episode on earthquake, seismic, and geological behavior. I'm going to have to do an episode. I love doing that, and I need to do one anyways for our weather episodes. All right, but with that, guys, I'm going to good night. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning into the Robert and Crew show tonight. Like, once again, I'm Robert. I couldn't get a hold of Crew tonight. I tried. I called him, and I messaged him. He had to have fallen asleep. I had a long day or something. So, anyways, I hope that Crew's doing all right and he's not sick anymore. Hopefully, he didn't get back to being sick again. I need him back on the cast. And besides that, I wanted to say if you enjoy the stream, please like, share, and subscribe. And do for me helps me, and it helps me grow. And I thank you so much for that. And then soon here, as soon as these tariffs go down, I'm going to try to get a merch started. So if you're interested in either grabbing a t-shirt or a hoodie, let me know. We'll work something out. Have a good night, Julie, and have a good night, JD, and have a good night watching the stream. Much love from the Robert and Crew show. Peace. If you want some merch, let me know.
If you don't like boring news but still crave the truth, then dive into The Robert and Crew Show. From mind-bending conspiracy theories to wild weather phenomena, we've got it all. Ever wondered what's really happening in your hometown, or what secrets the global news isn't telling you? We dig deep into the core of every story, unraveling the mysteries one podcast at a time. Join Robert and the crew as we navigate this vibrant, ever-changing cyberpunk landscape, bringing you interviews with the most intriguing minds out there. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, a news junkie or a weather enthusiast, there's something here for you. So strap in, listeners, because we're about to take you on a ride through the neon-lit alleys of truth and intrigue. This is the Robert and Crew Show, where the future meets the fantastic.